there is it says, as Donald Trump hesitated about who to pick for the 2024 running mate, Elon Musk, the world's richest person, reached out privately to reassure the former president that JD Vance was his man. That is according to the New York Times, which reported on Tuesday how Musk, alongside Silicon Valley investors such as David Sachs and Peter Thiel, had pressed Trump to choose their old ally in his potential vice president. Their influence illustrates the extent of Vance's links to a very special clique of conservative tech leaders and raises interesting questions about how and for whom he would govern. Quote, blessed be our holy Saint Peter, who exorcises demons that haunt our lands, end quote, said pro Trump space entrepreneur Dillian Aspero. I don't know how you say that. On Twitter X following the decision, alongside a picture of investor partner Theodore depicts an Orthodox saint. So I don't know if this connects to the dark matter. I don't know if Irie gonna chime in on giving more color to that. But I'm looking at it like I had no clue who this JD Vance was until now. Like no no BS. I had no clue who this guy was. I'm like, who the hell is he? Never cared to look him up. And as this is being said, it's starting to make a lot more sense. But
Well, well, the reason I say we got to focus on all of these different areas and aspects is because this is what this revelation of all this back and forth is producing, right? If we start talking about the stuff that we already knew before this event, it ain't really talking about what we're getting from the data points that we just got. They fighting right now. They're leaking stuff like right now. I just threw something up in the jumbotron from Thomas Massey as well. Speaker Johnson, Speaker Mike Johnson, not even Thomas Massey. Sorry, Speaker Mike Johnson. He reposting Trump. So now you're gonna have a Congress that looks like that bill. Did y'all see the numbers on that bill? Did y'all see the numbers?
Hmm. Yep.
Like 125, 124?
You want me to read this from Speaker Mike?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, sister, please.
I don't mind. Okay.
Let's go
I
ahead
don't
and get it.
mind either. I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, $1.6 trillion, and the biggest tax cut ever given. If this bill doesn't pass, there will be a 68% tax increase and things far worse than that. I didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. That puts our country on a path of greatness. Make America great again.
Sounds like war for me.
Shots fired.
Sounds like warfare to me. Sounds like they're taking their corners.
Yep.
Sounds like they're taking their corners.
Yep.
The speaker is with the president. The vice president is with the tech bros. The tech bros is against the president. Y'all see it all happening right now, real time?
In real time.
Hmm?
Welcome to the stage, brother. God, I am.
What's up, sister? What's up, brother LaFama? Shout out to the room, brother Art,
Mm.
Body, Twizzle, Aeon, sister Line is down there, brother Snugs, brother God down there. Shout out to everybody. Just watching the fireworks, man, and enjoying it. Sitting back and watching the Nazis fight each other.
Absolutely. We've been going through the jumbotron. We just kind of came to a point where we're kind of balancing and calibrating back out the room. looking at the jumbotron of all of the good stuff that we had put up there throughout the space, and really just slow walking and analyzing it. There's another one in the jumbotron. Now you have Elon Musk repetitively calling Donald Trump a liar. Y'all see that?
Um,
The third one in the
which one?
jumbotron.
The third one. Let's
Yes,
see.
ma'am. Yeah, we're gonna go through all of them. All of them have a pertinence to the room. That's why I've been removing other people's posts from the jumbotron because we keeping it straight on Elon and MAGA.
Yeah,
Elon
nah,
Musk say such an obvious lie. So sad. Um, this is Austin Capital. Trump fires back at Elon. The online battle begins. Let's see. I can blow this up. Elon was Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted. That he knew for months to I was going to do, and he just went crazy. That is what Donald Trump.
What's the second thing Donald Trump said?
See,
Elon was
second.
wearing thin, and then what he said?
Yep, Elon was wearing thin.
yo,
Let's
yo,
see.
yo, hold on.
Hold on, real quick.
We
Let's
gotta walk this super slow because
hold
it's
on, hold on,
exactly like I
That was the
thought.
hold on.
first thing that he
What's the
said.
Hold,
second
hold,
thing he
hold on,
said?
pig guys. Cause this,
Hold on,
this,
brother
this,
Josh.
this
Hold on.
mandate that he's talk.
Okay, brother Josh, hear me.
You
Hold
said
on, real
what?
quick. Hold on, real quick. Hold on.
All right.
I want to get this part out. What's the second thing?
Okay, the first thing he said was Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted. That, that nobody else wanted. That he knew for months I was going to do. And he just went crazy. That's what Donald Trump said about Elon.
Donald Trump asked.
And then,
Donald Trump asked him to leave,
yep,
so he was fired.
you're fired. Elon was wearing thin. This is Donald Trump.
Did he ask?
Elon
Did
was
he ask him?
wearing
Brother
thin. I
LaFarmer.
asked him to
Did he
leave.
ask him to leave before his period of what he hired him for Doge to do? Because he said he had a 2 year appointment. Doge was granted 2 years to operate. And Elon Musk
Oh,
was going to be the head of it.
So
well,
can I clarify, brother?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So he didn't fire him so much as he refused to renew his contract. So as a special advisor to the president, he can work for 180 days. And then
Mm.
at that point, Trump has the option to extend that to 300 days in total. Then Senate would kick in. Nonetheless, he effectively fired his ass. I just wanted to clarify that his contract was technically up.
Okay.
Not Doge, but Elon himself.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Josh.
so I get where you're going with this, and I agree with you because like, I'm assuming I'm not gonna assume what I gauged from when I was trying to chime in was the mandate that Trump is talking about was not put in place by Trump, right? So y'all know the history, like I know the history. Trump, before he became a Republican and ran for office, he was a Democrat, right? I'm pretty sure he voted for Obama, right? Elon was too, right? So he has ties that go into renewables and sustainable energy. We talking about Elon right now, right? So this mandate, I asked Grant just now to confirm what I already kind of knew. This mandate was passed by Joe Biden, right? It's from the Obama administration's, continuation, right? So he, what happened was Elon was like, hold up, hold up. I had money on the books. I had this shit calculated for quarters on end. I had this shit for years out. You about to take this shit off the books? Because look, the whole plan when it comes to this EVs was by 2030, they was gonna mandate that shit on every state level where you have to have it. They started doing it in like Washington was like one of the first states, and then they kept going. Like you on the West Coast, Ari, I know you know, right? So they had that shit, and that was a back behind the scenes deal with like Elon and some of these companies. But Elon's the top one. They wasn't conforming. The big companies knew what time it is. I don't know who really.
Elon was trying to corner the market. He was trying to corner the
Break it up.
market for the EV, no different than the dope man trying to corner the block.
Look, Ari, you peeping the game? Cause look, I'm a land. I'm gonna be quiet, bro. I'm gonna let you cook. But look, here's the thing. The thing is this. Here's the thing. The thing is nobody was trying to do it, right? So it's like you got this new product, you trying to come into the market, and nobody rocking with your product, cause they like, yeah, we got this shit over here that work. Anybody who uses trucks and does like work, if you ever looked into buying a new vehicle, if you watch the reviews on these electric pickup trucks, you will see what time it is. So what Trump is talking about is you can't get the same level of productivity out of these EVs. If you don't know, go do bruh, bruh.
And then remember the movie? Remember the movie Leave the World Behind? How all those Teslas was just crashing? Nobody was driving them and they were just crashing. So he pretty much called this his car trash. Wow.
Listen, Trump dropped Elon Musk stock with a tweet. Y'all
Didn't you
not
hear me
really
tell him today to go
y'all
stock
y'all y'all
to go
y'all
short it?
y'all not in here to have a real conversation, man. Where DJ L at, man? Man, wake
Nah,
it up.
you cooking. Nah, Ivory, you cooking,
Listen,
bro.
man.
He really did. He really did. Cause look, if we gonna talk
Niggas,
about it,
listen.
man, look.
Hold up, Josh. Let me say this part though. Niggas get killed on the street for less. Say what you gonna say, man.
Look, cause bro, it's a dirty game, bro. Cause look, he stepped on the work and then said, I. What you doing? He called him out. He called his bluff. He said, "Oh, you stepping on the." He started snapping his fingers like, "Hey, over there! He's over. He over there. He's stepping on."
Called this car trash.
Nah, it's
Yo,
crazy, bro.
Elon Musk already made him lose 3.8 billion from stock. If this continues the way I know it's gonna go, because Trump's one of them point of no return type of guys. Trump gonna make them drop all the Tesla government contracts, boy. That's what Elon Musk paid for his proximity to Trump for. So now he burnt not only 40 billion on getting X. Not only did he lose 3.8 billion already off a tweet, but you about to take his government contract that's valued at 38 point something $billion. And that's with the money that we
Well,
know on the books. Imagine the dark money for the rockets and how much he's charging them per rocket.
well,
Well, all I'm
just
saying
tell him
is this. That's all I'm gonna say real quick, because I gotta do it like my brother DJ was to do it, man. Wake this shit up, man. Cause the two assassins that tried to kill Trump ain't have a nigga like Elon money behind them. I'm gonna just leave it there. Those type of people with some off the couch potato ass, angry, disgruntled, wanted to get their name hot type folk. They ain't have a person that Elon Musk could pay that come from another country with already a burner, already got an access in the country, just waiting to get activated. Already got a route out the country, or some old Lincoln assassination shit. You think they
or
just woke up one
they
day and
already
just? You
they
think they
already
just woke?
talking about
Go ahead.
his paperwork dirty.
Listen.
His paperwork dirty.
Now, this is what I want you to know on that end. because the Negro got to stay adept to all of the factions. That's why I said our ancestors knew how to play chess with them in the time of checkmate. He knew that the Confederates did. Some people wasn't there when we read the ancestors' conversations with General Sherman and the guy from Washington speaking to our elders. A lot of folks ain't read that. Our ancestors said we understood. They said, "What do you know about us freeing you and the Emancipation Proclamation, and what does that mean?" And they say, "What are your sympathies towards the Confederacy? What are your sympathies towards the Union government?" Our ancestors answered those questions like they was on Twitter. That's what I want y'all to know. So I don't want to be dumber than our ancestors with Twitter. So that's why I keep refining the focal point back to what evidence are they uncovering about each other now? Because we don't need to get jumpy in who ran. One of them end up missing. Oh shit, he got deported and his plane crashed.
Oh,
Damn.
Y'all not really seeing this all the way through. You're not seeing this from the Godfather's perspective. You're thinking,
B
oh,
six
That was also
thirteen.
in the movie. That was
hey,
also in that movie, The Farmer, where the planes was just falling out the sky.
ain't they falling out the sky already?
Don't look up.
Yep.
Ain't they falling out? How you know if it wasn't
Every
flying
other
ain't
day.
flying over the
Damn.
Atlantic, he ain't got an F-14 on him and drop that motherfucker.
Oh, they're gonna B 613
See
his
what I'm
ass.
what I'm trying to tell y'all is this, man. These are two gods fighting on earth. When the Most High said that the clay was merged together with the iron, this is that fight. This is and how timing of it all. Because ain't they talking about a meteor coming to destroy the world? Let me tell y'all this, and
Asteroids is up to a one in
I
three
want you,
position.
I want y'all to know this for a fact. The Most High said, "Look up, thy redemption draws nigh." Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the world to come. When they say that it's going to destroy the world, Jacob don't need to be worried about the world being over because we're not a part of the world being destroyed. We're not a part of the world that they're talking about. When they were having the conversations about America with H-1B visas, we weren't part of that conversation. When they're talking about Elon Musk not getting the money from contracts, we're not a part of that conversation. Many of the people in this space do not work at a high level in Tesla. We don't have Tesla execs that are in this room that sit and watch spacecraft fly out. But I can tell you in a lot of these other spaces they do. So we're not a part of that world. I already gave them the notice. I told them that they need to have a huge space with black Americans and white Americans who are third generation plus and have a real conversation about America. We don't want to hear about the people who second generation or first generation. You either got to be third generation, you got to have a great grandparent that already is dead in America before we talk to you. And I put that out there, and you would have thought that they tried to act like they didn't even see it, knew what I was talking about. And I made it known
So
to them that this was the table that needed to be set so we can have the conversation or we can watch the pendulum swing. And that's what I told them. They already got the message. I'm talking about the biggest name accounts that you could think of. They all got the message from the multi-million followers,
so,
multi-hundred
so
thousand
did
followers.
they deny?
They
Did they
didn't.
deny you?
They acted like Moses talking to Pharaoh. Like what God? What God you talking about? What table? What conversation? They didn't even act like it wasn't even mentioned. They didn't even acknowledge it. But they're not gonna acknowledge what they're not gonna be able to get away from is the consequences of not acknowledging it. And that's the part that I
Let it
wrote when I
burn,
said that
baby.
the pendulum swing, because this is what the Most High gave us today. Usually He delivers on a Sabbath. So imagine what we got for the weekend that's coming. See, this was today. Trump went to bed and came at Elon last night. Elon woke up to Trump attacking him. Like, damn, he trying me like this. Now I gotta attack him publicly too. Now Trump, like he trying me like this. Now I gotta attack him from the Oval Office too. Now he coming at me like this. Trump and the Epstein files, and that's why they not released. Steve Bannon, he needs to get deported. He's a threat. Seize Tesla. Elon Musk about to say, if you think you're gonna seize my shit, I'll blow this bitch up. That's what Elon thinking right now. You coming to take my company from under me and nationalize it? He's securing all of the codes for Tesla. You don't think that Elon has a football like Donald Trump that he has, that he signs off with another person, and then they check off where those rockets go and don't go and approve the courses that they take? Remember, America don't have these rockets. So America won't even be able to stop him if he really wanted to do something. And what's stopping him if he already going to get deported? What's stopping him if you're already taking his company? What's stopping him? What does he have to lose? This is the Most High's work. This is how the Most High do. So I want to make sure that we don't miss nothing in the details that we see that we have went through that's in the jumbotron. The Democrats 8 hours ago. What is Trump hiding? Release the Epstein files. The Democrats have jumped into the shit. Democrats. They're not worried about reparations. They're not worried about saving America. They want to play on to the destruction of the Republicans, not recognizing that their destruction is part and participle of them because they're both bird. They're both two different wings on the same bird. A nation destroying itself. A house divided shall not stand. Right when that bill passed, it showed you a divided house. You didn't believe it. Look at the numbers. Shout out to Brother Art. He always pointing to the data. That bill was 124, 125. That mean that the fucking speaker might have been a deciding vote, or the vice president might have been a deciding vote.
Brother, I already had they had at least 3 no votes.
There you go. The three wise men. Look at the biblical nature of it. Three no votes. They were busy. They're the three wise men. They're going out to see the birth. They're looking at the stars, seeing the comet coming. They don't have time to make a vote on the destruction. They're trying to save their own souls. That's what we're looking at. An imploding America. Democrats said, release the Epstein files. What you hiding? Let's go to the next one. Elon Musk. Where's the man who wrote these words? Was he replaced by a body double? Elon Musk acting like a bitter bitch going through his old tweets with Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
Which one is that, Farmer?
That's the one
And the
after the Democrats from Elon Musk 11 hours ago. Where is the man who wrote these tweets calling out his manhood?
okay, got it.
Y'all see it up there?
Yep.
This ain't from
And what do the
the LA
tweets say?
Times. This is
It.
from Elon Musk, his own mouth, his own words, his own account. This ain't from Tesla.
Let's read the tweets.
Let's go and read them.
Say, this is Donald Trump. I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I am a Republican and I am embarrassed. Uh, Elon Musk puts 100, responds to him with 100. Donald Trump, no member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced. Deficits not allowed. Elon Musk responds to Trump, I couldn't agree more.
So he gave a talk a couple of months ago, and he said, Martin Luther King Jr. stood up on the mountaintop, and I'm going to tell you what he saw. What did he see, Brother Sharpton? He saw Black President Obama. He saw Kamala Harris. He saw Black professors. He saw Black doctors. I said, Sharpton, quit lying. That ain't what Martin saw. What did he see, Brother West? I don't know what he saw, but he didn't see that. What he probably saw was more pharaohs in different colors who pose as if they're on the cutting edge for justice, but simply rationalize and justify the crimes of the empire and the crimes of predatory capitalism and the crimes that lose sight of the humanity of many people who've been hated and terrorized and traumatized.
I support Cornel West because we don't get no realer.
There's no way I'm going to vote again for the lesser evil.
Any candidate or any politician that actually supports genocide, I want nothing to do with them.
And empires come and empires go. Usually it's military overreach. The United States now has 62 cents for every dollar spent for the military. We don't need 800 military units around the world. We don't need 130 countries with special operations. We don't need a military budget that has the next 8 countries combined still less than our military budget.
People are tired of fear. They're tired of people trying to govern in fear.
I think it's about time that we change our current system.
Boundless resources when it comes to imperial wars, but let's talk about our children's education. Let's talk about our workers' wages that are livable. Let's talk about our citizens gaining access to safe communities and decent housing. Let's talk about free health care. Let's talk about free education. We don't have a penny.
It's nice to hear someone who isn't lying to you for once.
I mean, he's the only candidate speaking truth to power.
And he doesn't follow the capitalist logic that undergirds both of these parties.
That's the warped priorities that reinforces the worst of an empire unraveling. That said, did I say, I want to be head of the American empire in order to dismantle the Americans?
And Cornel West gives us vision. He makes us excited about the possibilities of a nation and what it could look like.
I want to abolish poverty. I don't want a liberal version of it. I don't want a conservative version of it. I want to abolish homelessness across the board. We could do that quickly.
Both parties agree on increasing military spending. Both parties don't want to abolish poverty and homelessness.
If we can abolish poverty and homelessness.
And we are ready for that. We are long overdue to have somebody
Who understands the people and understands what goes on.
We have deep solidarity because we are committed to the wretched of the earth. We want to turn the world upside down and put poor and working people at the center of it.
He's revolutionary. He's going to completely upend the stagnant society that we currently have.
And we need him in office and vote Mr. Dr. Cornel West.
The revolution will not be televised.
Okay. Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. And here to give a brief overview of Justice for All Party National Committee, we give you our very own Brother Israel.
Hi everyone, how are you? So
between what it means to really fall in love with the quest for truth and goodness and beauty, as opposed to falling in love with commodities and possessions and status. And we all fall short. Samuel Beckett says, we try again, fail again, fail better. Try again, fail better. And he could see through the escalating neo-fascist sensibilities of Donald Trump and company. So when you talk about integrity at the highest levels of elected officials, oh, it's pretty cold up there. And that's a sad thing. Because when I was coming up, me and Brother Donald coming up, there were a lot of figures in national life of the country that had integrity. It wouldn't sell out, and it wasn't just a political and ideological matter. They were true to themselves. You see, even William Buckley with his right-wing self. And one of the reasons why we ended up with the xenophobic mendation and mediocrity is a kind of quasi-compliment to Brother Trump. Because America does have a long tradition of white male mediocrity. That family connections and cronyism and nepotism, but Trump makes that look bad. He does. And that's just at the level of knowledge and competence. It's not at the level of what I call gangster. Grabbing a woman's private parts, that's gangster. Taking somebody's oil, that's not your oil, that's gangster. That's not my subjective expression, that's an objective condition. Use of arbitrary power, thinking that Thrasymachus is right in the Republic rather than Socrates, thinking somehow that even quasi-Nietzschean wills to power don't warrant certain kind of interrogation because of a lack of moral and spiritual dimensions. Such unbelievable forms of creativity, compassion, and fortitude. And Du Bois understood that in that last chapter, Souls of Black Folk, the Sorrow Songs. One of the saddest moments in the last 30 years is the erosion of spiritual integrity of the younger generation, the erosion, the quality of black music in the last 25 years, the non-existence almost of the lifting of tender and sweet and gentle voices that sing together in tune. So I come from the dramatics and the delphonics and the whispers, the main ingredient, the Isley Brothers and the Jones Girls and emotions of the Hutchison Sisters David Ruffin and the Temptations, the Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, those aren't just entertainers. They are love warriors in song. And they listen to each other's voices with a gentleness, and they raise their voices not in order to give attention to themselves for a bigger market presence, but to empower others. See, James Brown would go for 4 hours, and he would always end every concert. I was there every night. I'm an extension of you. You're an extension of me. I don't exist without you. Did anybody come here to hear a song we didn't play? I know we've been going for 4.5 hours, but did anybody come to hear a song? You didn't play Soul Power. Hit it, Bootsy. James Brown would go for 4 hours, and he would always end every concert. I was there every night. I'm an extension of you. You're an extension of me. I don't exist without you. Did anybody come here to hear a song we didn't play? I know we've been going for 4.5 hours, but did anybody come to hear a song? You didn't play Soul Power. Hit it, Bootsy. What I saw here was a reflection, especially with Gangsta Trump, of a profoundly sick society. The fact that he could win as dog catcher, let alone president, is a sign of just how sick America is. That if Trump was a black man, he'd have been in jail a long time ago. And I see Sister Harris. Of course, Sister Harris is more intelligent, more sophisticated, more brilliant than Trump. Trump is beneath mediocrity, locked in the mendacity, hiding criminality. Yet he could be president. So he's not by himself. Chickens come home to roost. Organized greed, weaponized hatred, institutionalized indifference to others. That's what Trump is. And the opposition become Sister Harris. I want to protect my sister. She is my sister. Ain't no doubt about that. I knew her father, who they were talking about. The question is, what does any of this look like from the vantage point of everyday folk in the black community? 40% of our children living in poverty. Did you hear any talk about child poverty?
No.
Did you hear any talk about dilapidated educational system?
No.
Did you hear any talk about guns and drugs going in and out?
No.
Did you hear any talk about mass incarceration?
No.
You can't talk about a love for black people and not talk about those issues. Genocide taking place. Right now, 16,000 Palestinian babies killed. Do you think there would have been discussion if there was 16,000 Israeli babies killed? That would have been a major issue. 16,000 white babies killed? They would have had a 15-minute discussion about that. So we got to keep in mind legacies of Martin King, legacies of Fannie Lou Hamer, and what did Martin say? Poverty? Not too much talk about poverty. Racism, not a lot to talk about racism other than whether she's black or not. Militarism abroad and at home with the militarized police, not a lot to talk about that. And materialism. You can talk about the middle class all you want. But if the middle class is spiritually decadent too, and all they're concerned about is material toys and titillation and stimulation and distraction and addiction, and can't raise anybody with love and courage and integrity, that's not a whole lot either. That's not a whole lot either. We happen to come from a great black people who always talked about love and integrity and honesty and decency and service to others and sacrificing for something bigger than you. Yeah. None of that was really manifest on that screen.
Right, that's right.
And they say, Brother West, you're looking for too much. You looking for Donny Hathaway to get Pat Boone. Okay, I can understand that. I understand that. But all I'm saying is, we got to all raise our voices. There's going to be a whole lot of black folk who vote for Sister Harris. I understand that. I still love you, but I'm still running trying to tell my truth. I'm still running trying to bear witness. I'm still running trying to seek justice. I'm not going to forget about Jamal and Lakeisha wrestling with that, even though their humanity is not on that screen. And we need all of our voices. Isn't that why we run a system?
That's right.
Just bear witness to the truth and the justice and the love. And most importantly, too, to be part of this kind of spirit. Because you all have buoyed up my spirit. I feel a joy in here. I could be in Shiloh Baptist Church. I could be in the nightclub. I could be in Tabitha's KBLA. I'm feeling good. That's what it's all My dear brother, Al Sharpton, God bless his soul. He gave a talk a couple of months ago and he said, Martin Luther King Jr. stood up on the mountaintop and I'm going to tell you what he saw. What did he see, Brother Sharpton? He saw Black President Obama. He saw Kamala Harris. He saw black professors. He saw black doctors. I said, Sharpton, quit lying. That ain't what Martin saw. What did he see, Brother West? I don't know what he saw, but he didn't see that. What he probably saw was more pharaohs in different colors who pose as if they're on the cutting edge for justice, but simply rationalize and justify the crimes of the empire and the crimes of predatory capitalism and the crimes that lose sight of the humanity of many people who've been hated and terrorized and traumatized.
I support Cornel West because we don't get no realer.
There's no way I'm going to vote again for the lesser evil.
Any candidate or any politician that actually supports genocide, I want nothing to do with them.
And empires come and empires go. Usually it's military overreach. The United States now has 62 cents for every dollar spent for the military. We don't need 800 military units around the world. We don't need 130 countries with special operations. We don't need a military budget that has the next 8 countries combined still less than our military budget.
People are tired of fear. They're tired of people trying to govern in fear.
I think it's about time that we change our current system.
Boundless resources when it comes to imperial wars, but let's talk about our children's education. Let's talk about our workers' wages that are livable. Let's talk about our citizens gaining access to safe communities and decent housing. Let's talk about free health care. Let's talk about free education. We don't have a penny.
It's nice to hear someone who isn't lying to you for once.
I mean, he's the only candidate speaking truth to power.
And he doesn't follow the capitalist logic that undergirds both of these parties.
That's the warped priorities that reinforces the worst of an empire unraveling. That said, did I say, I want to be head of the American empire in order to dismantle the American empire?
And Cornel West gives us a vision. He makes us excited about the possibilities of a nation and what it could look like.
I want to abolish poverty. I don't want a liberal version of it. I don't want a conservative version of it. I want to abolish homelessness across the board. We could do that quickly.
Both parties agree on increasing military spending. Both parties don't want to abolish poverty and homelessness.
If we can abolish poverty and homelessness.
And we are ready for that. We are long overdue to have somebody
who understands the people and understands what goes on.
We have deep solidarity because we are committed to the wretched of the earth. We want to turn the world upside down and put poor and working people at the center of it.
Because he's revolutionary. He's going to completely up in the stagnant society that we currently have.
And we need him in office and vote Mr. Dr. Cornel West.
The revolution will not be televised.
What kind of human being do you choose to be in this short move from your mama's womb to tomb? You're not here that long. That's what is at stake in 2024 with God. Far beyond election, far beyond politics. The question is whether enough of us will shatter the indifference. The great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel used to say, indifference to evil is more insidious than evil itself. How do you shatter indifference? How do you shatter callousness? Charter schools here in September, and I'm just here, waiting to hear a university president give a speech, not about protecting those students who feel offended when you engage in a profound critique of Zionism. When you gonna give a speech about the 12 universities that have been demolished in time? I thought you were committed to education. I thought you were committed to a quest for wisdom. I thought you were committed to Socratic dialogue. You can't say a mumbling word when the laboratories are shattered, when the classrooms are crushed. And you're so concerned about this dude on campus. I was blessed to be faculty advisor to students from Palestine at Harvard University. That was a blessing. I was also faculty advisor to Coomba, which is the Black Gospel group. I was grooving on Tuesday nights, and I was engaged politically on Thursday. And oftentimes it was difficult to us to even find a room on campus where was the concern about the students who were being marginalized then. Of course we want every student to be respected. Of course we want every student to feel as if they can raise their voice. But the level of hypocrisy tied to the mendacity and tied to criminality, the lies that conceal the crimes have become so overwhelming, as Malcolm used to say, sooner or later the chickens don't come home to roost. You're going to reap what you sow. Sooner or later, everybody can see what has been going on. All you got to do is engage in a brief thought experiment. You say, what would be the response of the U.S. government? What would be the response of corporate media? What would be the response of our churches and our synagogues if 20,000 precious Palestinian children, 45 or 50 Palestinian brothers and sisters who have been murdered by the IDF? What if they were white? What if Arabs had killed 20,000 European babies? What do you think the U.S. government response would be? U.S. government immediately would support the white version of Hamas and view them as freedom fighters. That's how sick the society is. There were Israeli babies being killed. 20,000 truncated, subordinated Palestinian state. We want a context in which Palestinians can live lives of dignity, equality, safety, and security. And we want the same for our Jewish brothers and sisters. Let's be honest about it. What happens when you try to be that morally consistent? What happens when you try to be someone who breaks the back of the conformity and the complacency? And let's be very honest about it. One of the fundamental symptoms of spiritual decay is what? Massive cowardliness. People are just scared. They're afraid. Martin Luther King Jr. used to say, I'd rather be dead than afraid. Elvis Presley, who was a black sister who was the godmother of human rights in California. She was a black sister who gave John Brown. John Brown was a vanilla brother, just like Macklemore. Vanilla brother who loved oppressed people. She wrote a check for $500,000 to John Brown. He dropped dead and she got his cash. Black sister. He was executed, had a note from her in his pocket. That's John Brown, who loved black people more than some black people love ourselves. She used to begin every talk. I'd rather be a corpse than a coward. Rather be a corpse. What we're witnessing on the college campuses is nothing but a marvelous display of spiritual and moral militancy in the name of an indictment of a genocide that we ought to be acknowledging and ought to be a part of. And as my dear brother said, it ain't got nothing to do with anti-Jewish hatred. There's always going to be a voice here. Yes, there's going to be some voices. Why? Because we know anti-Jewish hatred is pervasive, just like anti-black, anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, anti-gay. It's a human thing. But you look at the magnificent leadership of these young Palestinian brothers and sisters. My God. They're talking about solidarity that has to do with nothing getting in the way of ensuring that Palestinian dignity and humanity is affirmed. That's the kind of determination we need. And let us be very honest about it. Yeah, I come from a great black people where every black person who mustered the courage to tell the truth about the vicious legacy of white supremacy ended up assassinated, incarcerated, rebuked, scorned, marginalized, and viciously attacked. So the repression is real. It's always been real. It's simply a test of our love. And the only thing that breaks the back of fear is love. The only thing that breaks the back of cowardliness is a courage rooted in a deep and profound commitment to the people who are being subjugated. So yes, ABC, I salute you. I salute you. But I'll say this. We have to have a solidarity that is mutual. When I go to black communities, oh, Brother West, you spend all that time with the Muslims and the Arabs and the Palestinians. We're looking for their voices to say something about our mass incarceration. They're looking for our voice to say something about our poverty. We're looking for someone to say something about our dilapidated schools. Looking for someone to say something about our indecent housing. This is not quid pro quo. This is not transaction. This is solidarity based on moral and spiritual ground with political consequences. Let us go forward, ABC, together. Palestine will be free, strong, with all the humanity in it.
I speak as a Christian, I speak as a free black man, I speak in the name of my grandmama, and I speak in the name of Fannie Lou Hamer, Martin Luther King Jr., and so many others. Shame on them, shame on them.
What do you have to say about that?
I would say that the minimal moral litmus test.
A minimal
moral litmus test for voting for any candidates of any human being, including a politician, is opposition to genocide. And if you can't raise your voice against genocide, if you deny genocide, if they can't oppose genocide, then there's very little moral fiber in it. Genocide is taking place and you can't say a mumbling word.
What's she afraid of, in your view?
She's afraid of the major forces in our party. She's tied to a deeply corrupt Democratic Party. She's tied to big money and lobbying. But I'll tell you this, if those babies and innocent people were white, Democratic Party have a qualitatively different response. If they were Jewish, they'd have a qualitatively different response. Why? Because there's a deep racism there. They don't believe a Palestinian life has the same value as a Jewish life. And that is spiritually sick. It's pathetic. And I would be saying exactly the same thing if it were happening to Jews. It's shame on the Democratic Party. But if they think that somehow they can proceed by turning their backs on the precious humanity of Palestinian brothers and sisters, shame on them. We will raise our voices consistently and constantly with a moral and spiritual vigor.
Thank you so much for coming.
My brother, thank you. I'm sorry I'm running so late, but I'm so blessed to be here. Oh. I apologize for being so late, but thank you for being so patient.
Thank you for this. Good man, Cornell, good man.
How you doing, though, buddy?
Another day for us to fight, right?
Go get him.
By a lifetime civil rights activist, a legend, and a leader, Dr. Cornel West.
Each and every one of us have to make a decision deep inside our own hearts and minds and souls that we are willing to make a sacrifice. We refuse to be well adjusted to injustice. We refuse to be well adapted to indifference. And there is no way that an actual genocide, ethnic cleansing can be taking place and people can act as if that's normal or natural or turn their backs. We will continually interrupt. We will continually disrupt. We will continually ensure that a light is perennially cast on the precious humanity of our Palestinian brothers and sisters. It's a commitment. It's a devotion. We have a calling, which means we will stick together, fight together, laugh together, struggle together, but we are going to make sure there's an end of the occupation. So my word to you, don't get discouraged. Stay encouraged. Be of great courage. I'll try to be Revolutionary Christian, so I'll try to love everybody. But I tell the truth.
Yeah, you can love them, but still call them out.
When you love them, you got to call them out.
Yeah.
If you don't call them out, you're not loving them deep enough.
Bring it. Call them out.
That's why it's rare you could have 550 Palestinian babies killed in the summer of 2014 and not have one politician of any color say a mumbling word. And then just these 9 years later, you got 5,000 precious Palestinian children and still can hardly get a politician. The most they can call for is a ceasefire.
Right.
It takes about as much courage to call for a ceasefire than it does for me to be a member of the LA Ballet team tonight. In the face of genocide, all you can call for is a ceasefire, most of them calling for a pause? Come on now. But how to label war crimes a war crime? Anytime you kill innocent folk, I'm against that. Oh no, I'm not giving that up.
Right.
But I know the history of occupation. I know the history of domination. I know the history of apartheid. Woo. And even folk who are apartheid, they still need to have moral standards and spiritual standards. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But at the same time, if you erase and downplay and push to invisibility that history, then all you're concerned about is U.S. foreign policy in the abstract. You end up with a choice between a right-wing neo-fascist gangster, a Pied Piper. That's Brother Trump. That's what he is. He's been a gangster for 45 years, so he's good at it. And he's leading toward Civil War number 2. And then here comes Biden. Milquetoast. Mediocre. Pushing toward World War III. What a choice. Civil War II, World War III. What we gonna do for the precious children? The least we can do. This is where you get beyond language. That provide concrete, fleshified examples so they can see persons, individuals, institutions, movements, figures that enact an integrity and honesty of vision, and most importantly, service. Somewhere I read, he or she is greatest among you. Yeah. He or she who serves the least of these.
That's right.
Oh, that's my tradition.
You know, the world tries to tell us that we're tethered to certain ideas that we don't have to be tethered to. We can be expansive and imaginative, right? We can remember that we live in a world of abundance where people can have all of what they need and most of what they want. And so we enter this really as faithful people, since we've been talking about faith, as faithful people who are not more pragmatists than we are faithful. And so we're building a campaign where we say, you know, you should be able to have just one job and earn enough to pay your rent or your mortgage, right? We should have an educational system where education for all, and I mean all the way from preschool through grad school, should be accessible to everyone. And the kind of education that you get is liberatory, right? We can have the kind of world where we say, you know, safety comes from building strong communities, not from putting more police on trains and buses and in schools, right? And so we enter this race as people who are thinkers. That's what we're paid to do. My actual paycheck comes from teaching and thinking and writing. And Dr. West, who I know you've had the great opportunity to write with, no one is more creative and imaginative and brilliant in his writing and thinking than Dr. Cornel West.
Everybody's for sale. Everything is for sale. That's what predatory capitalism is all about. It turns everything and everybody into commodity so that the politicians are for sale. Who's buying them? Big donors, big beneficiaries, big lobbyists, big military. You buy them for their vote. They then give them huge amounts of money. And you end up with a political system of legalized bribery, normalized corruption, because everybody's for sale. Now, the challenge of black politicians is, if they get caught into that, how they going to legitimately invoke Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Malcolm X when they selling themselves? And so you have to tell that truth. And that's a painful thing, because the whole system is designed in such a way that if you have leaders and politicians who have sold themselves for the highest bidders, but have to present themselves as if they're freedom fighters and truth tellers, they're going to have a lot of work to do. And sooner or later, as Cat Williams pointed out, in the year of truth, that veil is going to be ripped off.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to start seeing, wait a minute, these folk talking about they concerned about black folk, then how come?
This is Brother West, Cornell West. I'm so blessed to be able to leave this message for you, just to let you know that I thank you for your contribution. It's not only financial, but even on a deeper level. It's spiritual, it's moral, and it is political. We're trying to turn this corner for fundraising, and you are a fundamental part of this turning. So I want to extend my genuine gratitude for not just who you are and what you're doing, the force for good that you manifest in your life, but the ways in which you're able to keep a light going in these grim times. So bless you, bless your loved ones. Stay strong.
What have you learned about the ability or inability, the ease or the difficulty that black folk in particular have hearing critique, criticism, accountability talk about other black folk who they think they're in love with?
No, it's a deep question. No, brother, because we black folk, we just such a desperate people, though, brother. Our backs are always against the wall. Our options are always so limited and so truncated that we understand why various we'd be grabbing for straws and so forth. But we have to keep our spirits intact. We have to keep our souls intact. We have to keep our morality and our spirituality intact. That's why we started off with Frankie Beverly's Joy and Pain, right? All the pain that we have, we generate not a cheap joviality. That's the Democratic National Convention. Cheap joviality ain't the same thing as costly joy. Costly joy is rooted in profound grief, the most profound pain and grief and hurt. That's where joy comes from. I was just reading Julian of Norwich, the first woman to write in the English language, one of the great mystics of the 14th century. She said the same thing. Joy and pain go hand in hand. Joy comes out of grief. Dostoevsky says the same thing in Brothers Karamazov. It's the same thing in the blues. It's the same thing in Shiloh Baptist Church. It's the same thing in Curtis Mayfield and Aretha Franklin. It's the same thing in Nina Simone. Wrestle with that grief, wrestle with that pain, but generate a joy that's tied to a love, and it will never make sense in the eyes of the world, because the world is driven by too much greed and hatred and fear and envy. But bear your witness. And that's what I've learned more and more in this campaign, even though you and I have been talking about that Mark Willie Thomas and others. We talk about this all the time with our Bibles and things. You know?
With our Bibles, indeed.
Yes, good God Almighty.
Jesse Jackson's beloved wife Jackie was just telling Santita the other day. She said, Brother West is holding up the historic position of the black freedom struggle. And when you hear that kind of language, you know that somebody understands. Same is true with my brother Clifton West, and of course Anahita and the others. They understand. But all of the vicious attacks, West ain't nothing but narcissist. West ain't nothing but driven by vanity and hubris. West ain't nothing but making millions of dollars. You know how broke as the Ten Commandments I am financially. But all of a sudden, I'm a millionaire now. I said, oh, please, y'all, get off the crack pipe now. No, but it's definitely worth it because you're being true to your calling. You're being true to what you're put here to do in terms of trying to tell whatever truths and whatever love, whatever justice can flow to your soul. It's definitely, I would do it over and over and over again. No doubt about that, brother.
I don't want to violate any of our privacies, but this audience knows, of course, you and I have been friends for many years, and I don't ever try to hide that, never will. I'm unapologetic about that and bold about it, as are you. And yet I know that the Democratic Party sent a lot of high-profile people at you. I don't even want to call the names. I don't want to violate their privacy, but when I say high-profile names, they threw everybody at Cornel West, trying to get him to stand down. How did you navigate? Got about 90 seconds here left. How did you navigate all these persons, many of whom you've known and worked with over the years, who came at you in a variety of ways, trying to force you to stand down?
Well, I mean, I think it was motivated by love, and I don't mind even mentioning the names. You know, you got Sister Marcia Fudge, Martin Luther King III, Susanna Heschel. I have great love for them. They have a love for me, but they were trying to get me to get out of the campaign because they think the best thing is X, and I think the best thing is Y. And if whatever kind of offer they can make, I said, look, you're talking to the wrong brother, but I understand that your motivations are not vicious and malicious, and I understand that. And I told them I'll be able to work with them after the election because we're tied to a cause that's bigger than an election, and it certainly ain't about no brand. This ain't no strategy just for a market, and certainly not all political strategy. Yeah. This is a certain kind of moral and spiritual witness. And so nothing wrong even with mentioning the names, brother. And as they continue to come forward, that's fine. Let them come forward. But I'm doing what I got to do based on what I'm called to do.
I got 45 seconds left here, Doc. I could have begun here, but I close here. Why did you title this piece, Vote Your Heart, while your country still has one?
Oh, and that came from the great artist, Brother Fish. Brother Fish, he's the one who came up with that magnificent artistic depiction. Because what I started was why I'm not suspending my campaign. And then it was Anahita who came up with the idea. Said, oh, Brother Fish has already made this magnificent artistic depiction. Yeah. How do we hold on to our heart and souls in a moment that is so heartless and soulless? And so it was perfect, and I love how art plays a role. I wish I could have had some music with it, too.
I know you
know how it is.
I know you do. If you want to read Dr. West's statement in its entirety, go to any of his social media platforms. You can read it for yourself. It's called Vote Your Heart While Your Country Still Has One. Doc, I'm out of time. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for this conversation, my friend. All the best to you, sir.
Love you, man.
Love you back. Nothing you can do about it. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Well, it doesn't look like you have a good chance. Since when in American history? Since when in U.S. history? Since when in world history? Since when in the history of the species has it ever looked good for oppressed people? But what you gonna do in the meantime with your precious children and your mothers and your fathers? What are you going to do in terms of the memories of your ancestors and your great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers? What kind of human being will you be in the move from womb to tomb? Of course it doesn't look good. It's never looked good for oppressed peoples.
And justice for all. Justice for all.
Justice for all. Justice for all.
Justice for all. Peace Love, unity, and justice for all.
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 And you.
Justice for all.
Are you busy?
Justice for all.
Justice for all.
Justice for all.
And justice for all. Justice for all.
If not, I have a request.
How can I help?
I never had much to eat. Took over my family business. Sold
Justice
noodles.
for all.
I only knew noodles all my life.
Radicek here.
I stick to comfort.
West. Justice
Now,
for all.
I wonder if I should try new things.
It is good to try new things. Explore different types of food.
Justice for all.
To expand taste. Being a noodle master keeps me busy. I don't have time to travel. But you?
Justice for all.
You travel everywhere. Here,
And
a
justice
list
for
of
all.
ingredients I would like to try. Will you bring
Justice
them to me?
for all.
Come. I have some delicacies of interest to you.
Good. Interesting. We need more.
Justice
Keep them coming.
Because we've seen that in the history of black people. One of the ways in which you could be highly successful is for a black person to love everybody but black people. Because you're highly useful for the ruling classes. You're highly useful for the powers that be. Come on in, Clarence Thomas. Come on in, brother. Come on in. But that's the right-wing version. Come on in, Barack Obama. Come on in, Barack Obama. That's the neoliberal version. Make history. But what are you going to do about the poor vis-a-vis Wall Street? What are you going to do about those drones being dropped? What are you going to do about the 6 bombs that are taking place, the 6 wars taking place simultaneously, 25,000 bombs dropped every year and walk around with a peace prize? Hey, brother, that's not irony, that's hypocrisy. And I don't say that in any kind of hatred. I love my brother. I'm Christian, try to love everybody. But I tell the truth. Because it's not about any one of us individually. It's not about any one of us in terms of our narrow worldly success. We're talking about moral and spiritual greatness. Malcolm X died with $151 in his pocket with none in the bank. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't have enough money to pay rent. John Coltrane died at 40 years old. They're great precisely because they chose integrity, honesty, decency. Who would have thought the American empire would be imploding and collapsing so quickly? The layer of lies tied to the levels of crimes in both political parties, tied to the forces behind both parties, the big money, big military. So we see vicious lies from the gangster Trump pushing the country toward Civil War II in the name of an American fascism homegrown. We see a war criminal, namely Biden, who is weak, who is wrestling with senility, who is in denial in his party internally at each other's throats. Both parties beyond redemption, expressions of the decay. What kind of decay? What kind of decay? Moral decay, so that there's truth and justice, let alone love. In such a moment, if we don't fight to tell the truth about the genocide in Gaza, about the escalating, about the homelessness and the unhousedness, the 62% of Americans
struggling every day lift a paycheck, if we don't tell the truth about the organized greed at the top, the weaponized hatred, and the routinized indifference for the vulnerable, then the American experiment is over. Just another fascist regime coming into power. Where are the truth tellers? Where are the justice seekers? Where are the love warriors? That's what the West campaign is all about. Do we have what it takes? We shall see. But the spirit of a Harriet Tubman, the spirit of a John Coltrane, that in the midst of such overwhelming greed and hatred and lies and revenge, there's got to be a cloud of witnesses somewhere out there. There's got to be a group out there who are willing to hold up the bloodstained banner of truth and justice and love every day as I campaign across this nation. Let us at least go down swinging, and let us attempt to engage in a fundamental transformation in such a way of everyday orientation and religious and non-religious activity here in the press to live life.
She's a great leader within the community. I know personally that Melina always has been a fight. It's centered through truth and justice. She's a professor in studies at Cal State. She's a co-founder of Black Lives Matter. She's also a co-founder of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. She's been featured in documentary films such as 13 and several others. She speaks nationally and internationally at this point as well. She's a leader within our community. She puts her body and life on the line for us on a daily basis. So to have you here as well. Can you get a round of applause for me? So with our format today, we're going to have a
Give a sermon every time she went back. That was the sermon. It was the deed. It was the praxis. And she went back with a Bible, didn't she? You're scratching the surface and rip the veil off what's really going on. So it is in the moment of such overwhelming spiritual decay and moral death.
If I stay here, I will have to fight.
All of the lies, hiding the crimes, and now you're going to come to terms with what you've been repressing. That's what Malcolm said, chickens coming home to roost.
To debunk this lesser of two evils philosophy, someone just said lesser of two evils is still evil. I will not vote for anybody who doesn't say ceasefire now.
My name's Roger Chow. I'm an activist and a community organizer here in LA, and it is my absolute honor to host Dr. Cornel West. He is ramping up his presidential campaign, and we need him. We need his morality.
It's just so rare that you have enough people willing to tell America the truth about how spiritually sick and morally decadent it actually is.
We just had a roundtable discussion talking about homelessness earlier, which is really eye-opening.
People think unhoused people are dangerous. I think that's a really big misconception. I think it fits into the mental illness and drug piece.
He learned a lot. He's here to just meet people, learn about the issues, and learn about it from people who are, on the front line like we are.
It's already hard enough that you can't afford housing, you can't afford groceries, you're working 2 jobs, and then you're being criminalized on top of that.
I think we use documents like, I think on a federal level, national level, we have to talk about how do we create trade policies that don't rob people at the plate of Central and South American people so that they don't need to put their lives, their kids at risk because they're brought in the first place.
Really affirming to hear Cornel West talking about the spiritual crisis that is along with the housing crisis in LA. You can't have a system that leaves people out in the streets. Not just a couple people. What about 80,000 plus people out in the streets without some sort of moral failing there?
The vast majority of the unhoused and the houseless are the elderly and the children. Anything that gets in the way of justice got to go. You got to be free enough, willing to live, and yes, even die. And I don't have a language for Malcolm. If Malcolm's Muslim and I'm Christian, I don't exist without Malcolm. No matter who's for us for justice, no matter who promotes it, I am a human being, a Muslim and a black man, and we can say a free black man. When I win the White House. When I win the White House. I'm not going in until everybody has a home and a house.
It's really an honor to have him here. He's the real deal.
I am so honored that on this ballot, I get to vote for the honorable Dr.
Soldier, keep on marching on. Head down till the work is done. Waiting on that morning sun. Soldier, keep on marching on. Head in the dust, feet in the fire. Labor on that midnight wire. Listening for that angel choir. You got nowhere to run. Wanna take a drink of that promised land. Gotta wipe the dirt off of careful, son, you got.
The second truth is that we, as a hegemonic nation, the empire, as Dr. West called it, we could have had universal health care, but they'd rather spend those billions of dollars to make war. The naked truth is we can't expect the same politicians who don't care about the hungry children in Cleveland or the hungry children in Chicago or the hungry children in Detroit to care about the hungry children in Gaza. The naked truth.
Come on, Nina. Come on, Nina.
You can't ask those same people. We got genocide going on in the Sudan, uproar in the Congo, disruption in Haiti and Yemen, and here we are in Cleveland, Ohio, wondering why we can't get leaders. And shout out to the Cleveland City Council that came around and did the right thing. You got Councilman Richard Starr that was leading that. We got a Jewish sister on council that was leading that. But we got community folks that said to power as community folks often do. We will not be moved until you pass the resolution called.
Jumped in the car and zipped to George Mason University. Had 1,800 people waiting for me. Democracy Project. And just blessed again to be uplifted. Now here I am, after a bite and a quick drink. And I am blessed to be here, and I hope that I say something that does unsettle each and every one of you. I'm not here to create any conflict. I don't believe in dialogues being comfortable. I do believe in dialogues being respectful. But I think in the end, anytime we have to wrestle with the force of the truth, we all are unhoused in some way. T.S. Eliot said human reality can only bear so much reality. And there's a sense in which truth is difficult. That's why we need one another.
Solidarity with each and every one of you. By human beings, and I'm talking about the indescribable genocide of our precious Palestinians in Gaza.
West just showed up at Columbia University in support of the protest being held by the Students for Justice in Palestine group. Brother West gave a monumental speech stating that the protest is being held on moral grounds and that the same protest will be held if Palestinians were inflicting on Israeli citizens as well.
He said, I am blessed to be here with the young people who are standing for truth, standing for justice. And it begins with a love of oppressed people, no matter who they are. So it's a moral witness, it's a spiritual witness, the political witness. It's a beautiful thing to come together. Shame on Columbia University administration. It's very important to protect every student. There's no doubt about that. But when these students at Columbia calling for the annihilation of all Jews, an actual genocide is taking place. Attempt at what's actually happening, and then want to, of course, protect the rights of each and every student. But it's so clear that they don't really believe that a Palestinian life has the same value as any other human life. Healthcare is a human right. I think that human beings are so precious and priceless that they ought to have access to the highest quality of healthcare in their short move from mama's womb to prison. And that is something that so many other nations already have been able to institutionalize.
Fight, children. You get through this. You're too young. You have too much to live for. Fight. I mean, I did this forever. At this point, I knew injustice would happen. So talk to my husband about it. He was an immigrant from Brazil. I remember the moment he said, you know, if she had been in Brazil or even Saudi Arabia, she would have had a better chance of getting care than she had in the United States in that moment.
That people who are sick, they have a problem that I know I can help them with, but there's always a cost or obstacle. The most common question I get asked as a doctor, the most common question by far, is how much is this going to cost?
I want all working people to have health care.
You both used the phrase "from the river to the sea." This is being used generally by a lot of pro-Palestinian protesters, but it's viewed by Jewish people and pretty widely as a call for the extermination of the state of Israel. Do you believe that the state of Israel should exist?
I have marched with many precious Jewish brothers and sisters who use the same slogan because they understand there's got to be Palestinian dignity and Jewish dignity. There's got to be Palestinian safety and justice and Jewish safety and justice. They go hand in hand. Right now, there is a river and the sea, an apartheid-like state. And they're calling for even fuller control and more occupation. So the river to the sea is already active. It's just now genocide and ethnic cleansing. We want a situation in which precious Palestinians and precious Jews can live together under conditions of equality.
Does that include a Jewish state in your mind?
A Jewish state that is predicated on the domination of others?
Just a Jewish state in a peaceful region. Do you believe
Jewish state or whatever that is on the necks of anybody, and in this case, Palestinians.
And Dr. Abdullah, what about you? Do you believe that there should be, at this point, a Jewish state?
I think it's really important that we not collapse Jewish people with a Zionist state, right? I've been blessed to be in struggle alongside justice-loving Jewish folks. I have members of my own family line who are Holocaust survivors, and they are Jewish people. I have lots of Jewish folks who stand with us as we chant for a free Palestine. And so it's important that we recognize that there is a distinction to be made between Jewish people and the state of Israel.
I just want to note that it's not just that, you know, the ADL and people like that are saying that this is a call for the eradication of Jewish people. So is the head of Hamas. The head of Hamas's political unit says, we will not recognize Israel. Palestine must stretch from the river, from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. So if that is his view as well, without the existence of an Israeli state, how can you say so unequivocally that that is not a slogan that at least contemplates something that would be genocide.
Oh, no, there's no doubt that there's a variety of different Palestinian voices in the resistance movement. Hamas doesn't speak for every Palestinian in the same way that Nat Turner didn't speak for every black person when he ended up killing innocent white folk. I don't believe in killing innocent anybody. But you're going to have a variety of voices, but you don't start with those voices without coming to terms with the vicious killings and occupations that's been going on for 75 years, and then you get a counter-terrorist response to that. So that, I think it's the framing that has to do with that's very
Calling
important
October
here.
7th a counter-terrorist response.
Oh, absolutely. If you've been terrorized for 75 years and you responded the same way Nat Turner. The NAACP was founded where? At Harper's Ferry with John Brown. John Brown was killing innocent folk. He wrong to kill innocent folk. Was he wrong to resist slavery? No.
But don't let any of the mainstream media, don't let any of the corporate voices try to tell you and us that we here out of hatred. We hate occupation. We hate domination. We hate injustice. I hate patriarchy. I hate homophobia. I hate transphobia. I hate white supremacy. I hate certain elements inside of myself, because all of those things I mentioned, I'm a product of the best and the worst of the American empire. So I got some hatred in me. I got to kill it. I don't proceed in the spirit of self-righteousness. That every day I've got to get up and re-prepare myself to be in solidarity for them and raise my voice and be willing to pay whatever service and sacrifice is required.